He's been campaigning for the last 5 years. He's the founder of My Place Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Darren Bergwerf.
Thank you, Craig, and good afternoon, Melbourne. Great to see you all out here today, and this is the beginning of a mass build-up of numbers moving forward. So this is a start, and we are going to continually hold rallies fortnightly. It will turn to weekly, and eventually we will be doing them during the week when Parliament is sitting. My message to you and to all Australians, over the next series of months, you are going to be led into a dead-end street by people that are going to be speaking policy and politics and say, vote for me at the next election and I'll fix this.
Bullshit!
I call bullshit! There is no fixing this in this house behind me or the one in Canberra. The time for politics and policy is over. This is not about race, religion, flags or individual issues that we have, because there are hundreds of them. And I could ask 100 different people around this country what's their major problem, and there'd be 100 different answers.
Government!
Okay, there is only one problem, and that is a foreign government that is committing war crimes and crimes against humanity against good Australian people. And it is time that we focus all of our attention not on the semantics of flags, religions, race and all the arguments between each other, and come together as one people with the one common problem, and that is a criminal government. So moving forward, there are other rallies and other things that are going to want to suck you into what I got sucked into in 2022 after I'd just spent a couple of weeks up in Canberra and many days marching the streets in Melbourne in 2021, okay, including the Westgate Bridge back when we first started. We'll be paying tax, and all of those mining magnates will be handing back their fraudulent contracts that this government's over years and years have gifted them. And like I said before, there is no political answer to this, so get that out of your mind. Do not let people suck you in to believing in politics any longer. It's not there. It's not going to happen, right? It is the criminal element of government that must be our focus. It must be what we educate ourselves around. It must be what we expose, and it must be what we learn about. There are at least 10 serious indictable offences that this government is committing on a daily basis. Okay, so there's no voting, there's no getting into a system that is, in my opinion, racketeering with the courts, the police, the banks, and every other so-called watchdog in this country. They are, in my opinion, an organised crime syndicate enforcing usury and slavery against the Australian people, and it must stop! And it starts here today. And we need to build the numbers. And I don't care if it takes 3 months, 6 months or 9 months, but these rallies and the intent behind them are going to go somewhere that the other rallies didn't. And if we need to withdraw our labour, withdraw our finances and withdraw everything away from this system, if it needs to be a lockdown, it needs to be a boycott, we need to build that mentality in the people in this country that we've had enough and we're not going to take it any longer. Now, like I said before, it's great to see so many people here today, but this is just a start. We need to build these numbers. We need feet on the street. We have a heap of people that have been onto this for 20, 30 and 40 years. They've been lone soldiers, your Dick Yardleys, your Brian Shaws, your Wayne Glues, and a series of other people. They've done a mountain of work. They've dedicated their life for 30 years without any support. It's about time we pick up the baton and we run with the good work that they've done and we spread their work throughout the nation. There is only one solution, and it is the masses to demand that this government be stood down and we put in a temporary government. which we are developing. We have plenty of good people in this country that have the integrity and the will and the knowledge to run this country until we can sort this shit out and actually have a true and fair election. Okay? So this is what we're wanting to achieve by starting today, by getting the will of the people, the knowledge in the people, to demand that this government be stood down. Now, we need massive numbers. We need everyone to bring 2 or 3 people next time we have one of these rallies. Now, there are other rallies happening. Save Australia, and a few other ones. There's the anti-fascist rally. There's also, of course, the anti-racist rally. Now, we know as a nation, as a whole, that we are not fascists and we are not racist. We are good people. What we also need to learn is the discernment that shit's going to happen that's going to trigger people. The burning of our flag, people holding up Hamas signs. These are plants, people. Look through the bullshit. They're there deliberately to divide us and having war against each other rather than focusing on the people in there. And that must be the message today that you get out of today, is educate yourself on the criminality of government and the criminality of the court system that protect them, including a suppression order, a 90-year suppression order by the federal government to suppress the names of 28 pedophiles that are at the top level of government and the justice system, the injustice system, and they won't release those names because you're going to lose confidence in your political system. Ah! Really? Well, I've got news for these Muppets. That confidence was lost 20 years ago. And it's about time that these people that are concealing crimes get held to account. And that's what we will push for, and that's what we will do as a people once we have the numbers and we have the mindset all swimming in the same direction and not being distracted by false flags and burning of flags. Okay, they're stunts to get us to fight each other. It is so simple to see. So anyone that starts to take you on a topic of whinging about a certain policy, just say it doesn't matter. None of the policies matter. It's the people instigating those policies that matter. That's where our attention needs to be. Don't get distracted from that. Don't get distracted by political talk about elections. It's important that we focus on the root of all of our problems, and that is in the building behind me and the building up in Canberra. And until we get that message, until we unite as one people and have the same message and we march in numbers and we put our demands on the table, we're going to keep going around in circles for another 3 years. And I'm not accepting another 3 years of this bullshit. Are you? No! Okay, so stand with us and bring people to the next rally, and bring it to the rally that has a flyer that says, Australians unite against government corruption. That is the one! Thank you. Oh, one more thing, sorry. 2 seconds. We have a flag here, and as far as all the different flags go, the one that resonates the most with me is the Eureka flag. And on that it says, when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. We are the resistance! Thank you.
Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I have a very learned gentleman, Dr. Ian Brighthope, who's been a doctor and professor for 50 years, and has been campaigning against the government corruption as well too. A big round of applause for Dr. Ian Brighthope.
Thanks, Craig. I'm going to speak from the heart. I love Australia. I hate what the people in this house and the house in Canberra are doing to us. I'm going to talk to you about the issues around health and well-being, and I'm going to speak to you on behalf of the World of Wellness International, which is a group was started here in Melbourne quite some time ago now. It's a member organisation of the Aligned Council of Australia, which consists of 40 other groups which reflect the interests and well-being of members of the order of nearly 2 million Australians. And we need support from people like yourself to join our organisations so that we can have an influence in government at our next elections. Because we cannot keep going the way we are with health in this country. I wrote to Scott Morrison, Greg Hunt, and the Chief Health Minister at the beginning of 2020 on behalf of a large number of doctors. We said, we don't need to have lockdowns. Do you want to have more lockdowns? Do you want to have more masking? Do you want to have more social distancing? Do you want to be held down and injected against your will? Well, that is what is going to happen if we stay with the World Health Organization. We have an agreement with the World Health Organization now. We pay them $300 million plus a year, unelected bureaucrats, to tell our bureaucrats here what to do when there is an infectious disease occurring in our country. We have lost our sovereign rights to our own individual right and responsibility to take a medicine if we want to. My profession failed us during COVID. My profession, the medical profession, went lock in step with the orders that came from Canberra and the orders that came from the unelected bureaucrats in the World Health Organization. We have signed a pandemic treaty, an agreement with the folks in the World Health Organization. It is funded mainly by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Did you get that? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which boasts that they put $10 billion into an investment in vaccines and the return was $200 billion. Where did that $200 billion came from? And all of the other billions of dollars that we lost during the pandemic our taxes went to the elites, went to the wealthy, went to those who are controlling the WEF, the WHO, and every other organisation in this country in which there are collaborative centres that have been implanted by the WHO and its interests. We are in a very precarious situation because they are planning another pandemic. Don't misunderstand me. The pandemic was a plandemic. It was a fake. It had been planned for some time, and don't believe the lies about the vaccine, the virus coming from a wet market in Wuhan. It came from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. It came from an institute where they were weaponizing viruses. Gain of function of viruses is something that should be outlawed globally. Because they want to develop these viruses so that they can develop vaccines against them, just in case there's biological warfare. Well, we know how to prevent these diseases and illnesses. We know how to do it, and they didn't listen. If the population had been given some sunshine, given some vitamin D, go to your doctor and have your vitamin D levels tested, we would not have had a suffering of the 5 years that we did through COVID and the follow-on from that. Nearly $1 trillion was wasted during those years. A trillion means 1,000 billion dollars. And the ongoing costs. The ongoing costs, the loss of business, the loss of relationships, the illnesses, the diseases, the children who've lost a generation of children have lost their proper education. And it includes all of us, folks. It includes all of us here, including our police force. They had to be a part of a system that did damage to us, serious damage to us. Now, if the Western Australian government and the South Australian government can pass legislation that says if there is another fake, a public health emergency of international concern, and we need to vaccinate with an experimental vaccine, it gives the police force the right to hold us down and inject us. Do you want that? Does our police men and women want that? I'm sure they don't. I mean, we are all one people. We love this country, and we have to stick together and make sure that they don't do that to us again. We don't have anybody with the wisdom in the World Health Organization, and our own health departments are completely deficient of people who know how to prevent disease and treat early. What we did during the pandemic, we said to the old people, okay, don't worry, you'll be okay. We take you to hospital, we put you on a ventilator and you die. Or we put you into hospital if you've got a positive PCR test, and you get anxious and you get injected with morphine and midazolam, the thing that they use in the US in executions. And what does that do to people? And remdesivir, the drug that causes, remdesivir is also known as, remember, death is near. You end up in intensive care with kidney failure, and of course you're in intensive care and you end up dying. And that's exactly what happened in our hospitals in this country, ladies and gentlemen. We were told by the authorities above to do all of this. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It was, to me, it was murder. I told the Parliament in Canberra that not one single person should have been injected with this experimental vaccine. You know, one vaccine has caused the death of young people who go to bed the night they've had the injection and they don't wake up the next morning. Any other medicine that did that would be taken off the market. Now I must add, there are a few good people in Parliament. There are a few good people who are awake to what's going on. We've got to give them the confidence to speak up. We've got to give them the knowledge to speak up. We need to give them the facts and data. My group, my medical group, actually put together a book called Too Many Dead. Too Many Dead, when in 2020, late 2020, COVID wasn't killing anybody. The increase in death rate, ladies and gentlemen, in this country started soon after the rolling out of the messenger RNA vaccines. The toxic vaccines that were meant to stay in the arm, they didn't. They go to your brain, to your heart, to your lungs, to your ovaries and your testicles. This is why so many people are sick who should not be sick. This is why we're seeing turbo cancers in this country. And what do I mean by a turbo cancer? Somebody who presents with stage 4 cancer, which means there's been no warning, all of a sudden they've got cancer all over their body. And this is happening on an increasing rate, and our authorities are ignoring it. We have to do something about it, ladies and gentlemen, please. If you want to do something, come to these rallies. Join a member group of the Aligned Council of Australia. Please, we have a lot of good people there who are awake to what's going on and what government needs to do. We need new governance in this country. We need a renewed set of politicians who have the courage to speak up and learn about the truth. Because if you don't have courage, you don't get to the truth. And if you don't have truth, there are no other values in our society. So I'd just like to finish by saying, bless you all for coming along, and also bless our police force as well, and those who want to maintain peace. Thank you.
He's a farmer for 40 years, been campaigning against this corruption, the corruption against the farmers by the government for 40 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wade Northausen.
How's it going there, Melbourne? Not only Melbourne, we've got people here from all over the state, so that is fantastic. We've been getting around the crowd, we've been talking to people, and we've got people happening here from all over Australia, in fact. So this is one of a rally that is happening internationally. We are starting to see, quote unquote, the people are waking up. We are starting to see things happen overseas. Well, it's been a long time coming. I first started becoming involved in politics when I was early 20s. 40 years I've been involved in this now. And we started to get involved when we saw banks illegally foreclosing on farmers and sending them bankrupt. This has been happening for a long, long time. It's been built for a long, long time. And for many of us who have been in this game for decades, it is good now to see finally the Australian people are waking up. Absolutely. So, a lot of people, their awakening moment was the start of the fraud and the attack on the world's people known as the start of COVID-19. That was an absolute military operation. You heard Dr. Ian Brighthope just speaking there before. I've had many conversations with Ian, with his team from AMPS, with his team from World of Wellness, and now we have doctors from all over the world are calling this for what it is. It was an attack, it was lies. The so-called COVID-19 vaccine was a biological weapon. Your stinking, filthy, lying governments forced you people to take this crap. There are many people here who didn't. We have seen the results of this now worldwide. There is no dispute. This was not anything that was designed to help you. The medical people tell us categorically its only purpose is to maim, injure and kill.
So then they don't have to pay pensions.
So I'm very, very proud to talk to people like Dr. Ian Brighthope and like the doctors that I know, and they have done amazing work. We've seen brave doctors who have lost everything they've ever worked for, as opposed to the cowards who would not stand up.
That's 99% of them.
The times that I've been doing this, we get to look at things with a very sceptical viewpoint. And when you do the mechanics of what the likes of the World Health Organisation, the United Nations and the World Economic Forum are doing, I guarantee you they're coming back to do it again.
Of course they are. Evil mother.
In my history and my profession as a farmer, third generation dairy farmer from North Central Victoria, we have seen governments systematically attack and destroy our farming sector. This is now beyond any doubt. We are seeing farmers right now across Australia fighting hard against so-called renewable energy infrastructure. Victoria's farmers, if they come to fruition with this energy garbage, it's a lie, it's a fraud, will lose 70% of Victoria's farmland. That is a massive impost, and the whole purpose here is to put farmers under enormous pressure to send them broke. We have seen the mental health breakdowns of not only farmers but the entire country. This is their plan. The lockdowns that everybody suffered. Who remembers these lockdowns? Who remembers losing their jobs? Who remembers losing their relationships, the arguments they caused with their families? And who remembers the loss that we all suffered? Well, I'm here to tell you, if you look at the plans that they have, they are planning to do that all again, but 1,000,000 times worse. I put it to you that our politicians are in the business of destroying our country. There are a small handful that are okay, but the vast majority of our governments are on the payroll with international terrorist organisations. This is something where the Australian people right now need to come together. The whole purpose of this is to bring the Australian people together to fight and stand as one. Their specialty is to drive division. We're seeing things that are being done now to deliberately create friction amongst the people of Australia. That is their plan. Well, we will not fall for that. We need to understand that our enemies are the politicians and the governments. We've seen all over the world extreme violence happening now. We've seen parliaments and houses being burnt down. Well, that is not our way. We do not want to fall into that category. We do not support that. But I understand why this is happening. We must put pressure on our governments and politicians here. Peaceful, non-violent, but they only can survive while we are divided and fighting each other. We've seen some people, just previous speakers, who talk about our police standing with the Australian people. What we've seen is that terrorist governments have used our police through the agency of corrupt police command. Chief commissioners who are on board with the international terrorists. And I've said before, and I say it again, to our coppers, they made you people take a lethal injection. They threw you against the Australian people. So I say, your families are every bit in as much danger as what the rest of us are. By now, our cops will know people who have died, dropped dead, been maimed and injured from this filthy poison. We stand by you as much as you stand by us. This is Australia, and Australia is speaking. This is a numbers game, it is an education game, it is an information game. When we see so many people who want to go to the footy, they're not interested, they turn their back on what we're talking about. This is where every one of us needs to become a conduit. We need to tell them what's happening, we need to lead them to the websites, to the organisations who are fighting back against this. If you know...
I did the finger.
That's right. There were some people who were exempted. COVID-19 knew which ones they were. So that tells you the entire thing was a total fraud. This is just part of the attack on us, we the Australian people, and the people here now who have put these rallies together, the people who are marching. Well done to them, to the organisers. And similarly, well done to Vic Pol. We've had a lot to do with Vic Pol, with Billboard Battalion. We've done a lot of work around the country. And we know that we have support. We can say the things that many of them can't, but want to. So we need to continue that support.
They can speak up!
Australia's military is being set up to be used by the World Health Organisation against us. The World Health Organisation was given the power over Australia by the so-called Labor Party Federal Health Minister, Mark Butler, on the 19th of July this year. They have handed it over, so expect things to get rough. I can tell you right now that the things that they talk about being some kind of a pandemic, they are planning, and we can only just say a few short things in the amount of time we've got. They're planning to say that the fraud and the hoax of climate change is a pandemic. They will use that to attack your rights, our farmers, your properties, your ability to get food and money. These are all in the pipeline. So for the people who are here today to help and fight for our farmers and fight for our rights, I say thank you. This is the most serious danger Australia has ever been in. They are splitting, dividing and trying to conquer us all. They work for foreign terrorists and we have to fight back against that with everything we've got.
They are the terrorists!
So I won't take up much more of your time here today, but let us be aware that we are doing everything we can. We're fighting with everything we've got. And we need every Australian to stand up. We've heard about our Anzacs. Well, we are in the middle of losing our country. When all our stinking filthy politicians turn up on Anzac Day and they lay wreaths and they tell everyone how much we owe our Anzacs and they talk of their honour and their sacrifice. They are selling them out. They are desecrating the memory of our Anzacs. And they're doing it for money. They think that they're on the side that's going to win. That's why they've decided to sell us out. Here in Victoria, we've seen a piece of filth, low-life scum, Daniel Andrews. And we thought Albo got a bad reaction. Daniel Andrews has recently been photographed in China with some of the leading terrorists, dictators and human rights abusers in the world. Jacinta Allen is his... She is his protege. She is working every bit as much for the terrorist organisations as what Daniel Andrews did. To everybody here at our rally here, we are not marching, we are static here in front of Parliament House. There is another group who is marching past, and good luck to them. But what we're doing is here today in front of Parliament House. I would just like to finish by saying this. We were down in Ballarat there just recently. At the what's called the Bush Summit. And two of the honoured, they call them the honourable guest speakers, were low-life Anthony Sleazy and Jacinta Allen. Well, I can tell you right now what a lot of people told them. And I'll just finish by saying that Anthony Albanese, the last he was seen leaving Ballarat, his motorcade was hightailing it out of town with a whole heap of farmers on tractors in high-speed pursuit. Rack off Albanese, rack off Jacinta Allen. You take your corrupt foreign terrorist governments and you shove them. The Australian people have spoken.
And Bernie's going to speak a bit about that now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bernie Finn.
Thank you very much. Craig, thank you so much for organising today to begin with, because what a crowd! What a crowd! It is sensational. I'm not going to keep you here much longer anyway. But I just want to mention a bloke who left us during the week. A bloke called Charlie Kirk. A man who stood up for what was right. He stood up to those who would do us harm. And they took his life. Now I'm hopeful that none of us will have to suffer that fate. But what we do need to do is to use Charlie Kirk as an inspiration. To remember him and to hold him up as somebody that we can follow. I know where he is now. He's upstairs with the boss. I've got no doubt about that at all. But what he has left us is an example. He has left us an example for every single one of us to follow. Every single one of us. I ask you to take that on board. I ask you to use Charlie's example as something that we can all follow well into the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm running at the next election. I don't want to run at the next election. I ran at the last election. I didn't want to run at the last election. But let me tell you, I cannot turn my back on what is going on in this state, what is going on in this country. I cannot turn my back on that and walk away. That is not on. That is not on. Because we have the worst group of politicians I have ever seen in my life. Right now. State and federal. State and federal. They're bloody shocking. And you just have to have a look at what Susan Lee did to Senator Price during the week to know that it's not just Labor, but it's Liberal as well. It's on both sides. We have a Prime Minister. We have a Foreign Minister. Remember Senator Wong? Remember her? They have embraced international terrorism as a way of life. It is absolutely extraordinary that we would have a government that would allow that to happen. If you want to know where the centre point is of all corruption in this state, look behind me. Look behind me. We have had, over the last decade in this state, the singularly most corrupt government in the state's history. It is totally and absolutely corrupt. It is a whole range of things, and the good doctor mentioned before about how he had been treated, and I stood up during the pandemic, call it what you will. I stood up and actually came down here and I spoke to people at the front, and I told them that I supported them. I got into a lot of trouble for that, and I'm sure as a result of that, that expedited my expulsion from the Liberal Party, because I didn't do as I was told. But then again, I've never done as I'm told, so it doesn't matter. I want to tell you a story that I raised in Parliament while I was in there a couple of years ago. It involved a 10-year-old girl out near where I live. It's just horrendous. Thanks, Mum. This little girl came home one day, and she's normally a very happy-go-lucky little girl, very, a bright little girl. She came home, and she went straight to her room, She wouldn't open a door. Her mum and her dad couldn't speak to her. She wouldn't speak to them. And it was many, many hours before they actually coaxed her to come out. And they said to her, what's wrong? What's happened? What has upset you so much? She said, it's school. They said, what happened at school? She said, my teacher today, during sex ed classes, we know what they are these days, the teacher directed her to go home and as homework to ask her father about his erections and ejaculations. Now this is a 10-year-old girl. This is a 10-year-old girl. Can you imagine how distressed she was? Anyway, the mum came to me as the local member, and I was naturally enough appalled. And I raised it in Parliament. In fact, I went right off in Parliament about it. I thought it was disgraceful. You know what the minister said? It's in the curriculum. It's in the curriculum. Now, we all know who's responsible for the curriculum. It's the minister, the education minister at the time. This is just one example of how these people hide behind all sorts of things to hurt our kids. Now, I'm in politics, I've got to tell you, I'm in politics to help kids. I love kids. I love kids. And I believe that the greatest judgment that we can have on how successful we've been in life is if we leave this earth in better shape than the way we found it. I have to say to you that if that happened to me, if the good Lord called me home tonight, I would have to declare myself a total failure. Because we have all failed our young people. We have a situation where little girls are being asked if they're little boys. Little boys are being asked if they're little girls. We have all this sort of, the sexualisation of children. The sexualisation of children. This is just grooming them. This is just grooming them. It is disgraceful, and it is all part of the corruption that this government has. I cannot believe just how bad the Andrews government is. And I say Andrews because she is Jacinda Andrews. She is Dan Andrews in a pantsuit. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Folks, I'm going to leave it there because it has been a fairly long session. But I just want to say to you that I want to fight with you. I don't want to fight against you. I want to fight with you, and I want us to win. For the sake of us, for the sake of our families, for the sake of our kids, for the sake of future generations, we must win. We must. And if I could just say, and I quote a mate of mine, somebody that I get on, well, I admire him a fair bit. Fight, fight, fight. That's what we've got to do. That's what we've got to do. Get out there, fight, do the right thing by our kids, do the right thing by Australia.
Ladies and gentlemen, another big round of applause for Bernie Food. A whole bunch of consistent, smaller actions are what's required here. So part of that is changing our mindset. This is not going to be done in one swoop. It is consistent, ongoing action that you are going to have to reinvest some of your time. Is your country worth it? Yeah! Is your country worth it? Yeah! Sure, you might decide to sit in your comfort zone for the next 6 to 12 months, and you'll be comfortable for a while, and then you won't be. So we have to reinvest some of your time. Saving your country isn't something you do if you've got a bit of spare time. Saving your country is reinvesting your time into things that are monotonous, painstaking. So celebrate the small wins. Today is a small win. Look around you. This is a win. It's a small win, but it's one of many steps. So start getting around that mindset of I'm going to have to reinvest some of my time into having more conversations, into studying more, into reading more, into having your own community gatherings. Get together in groups. Go and visit your local elected representative, please. We're using Mockingbird back on them. They're not politicians. They're elected representatives of the people. They do what you want them to do, not the other way around. They are not our lords and masters. Elected representative of the people. It's about time they started doing that again, isn't it? Yeah, well, I'm going to bring it home. However, what was a bit remiss of me earlier on. Now, whatever your views on Charlie Kirk are, whether he was in this country or not, one thing he stood up for was free speech and freedom. And the ability to have a debate without violence, without antagonism, to speak your truth. So I think it's appropriate, and apologies for not doing this earlier on, but I think we just have a moment's silence in the memory and efforts of Charlie Kirk. Thank you. Remove your hats, please. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause for Charlie. All right, just off the back of what Bernie was saying. Okay. Those of you may or may not know, I still work with youth today, these days, but 15 of those years out of the 20 was spent in the education system, 10 of those years on an education department contract. I know how corrupt the education department are, and any teacher or any principal out there will tell you how much of a bigger bullies the education department are. So, you homeschool your kids, absolutely. So, I've been campaigning against the sexualised indoctrination of our kids for the last 3 years. And on the back of what Bernie said, I'm going to give you another couple of examples. Now, this is what this government condones. This is what we've got to stand up for. So hear me out on this. I'm going to give you parents some guidance on what you can do to help protect your children. There is, as we know, we've just signed up to the World Health Organization. Did you vote for that? No! Are you happy with unelected bureaucrats halfway around the world telling you what you can and can't do? No! Okay, so that's another reason to get in your groups, go and see your local elected representative and tell him to take our signatures off that treaty. That's it, not negotiable. That's something you can do. Now, the WHO has a handbook, the Standards for Sexuality Education in Europe. They implement the same over here. Part of those standards for sexuality education for ages 0 to 4, as stated by the World Health Organization, is early childhood masturbation. Disgraceful. You don't believe me? It's in the document. You can see it yourself. Malcolm Roberts spoke up about this in Parliament about 3 years ago. One of the only things he's done good, but anyway, at least he spoke up about it. Also, I'm going to alert you to this. I've got to put the bifocals on for this, bear with me. It's not a good look, apologies. There's a website called raisingchildren.net.au. I would suggest you go onto this website and have a look. Now, once again, as they generally do, they make these things look all nice and warm and fluffy on the surface, so most people go, well, that looks okay. But when you do some digging, it's not okay. And she ain't right. It's a good old-fashioned Aussie saying. Is she right? No! She ain't been right for quite some time. Now, I was alerted to this. A parent informed me they were given an email link by the daycare centre about the 3.5-year-old daughter. 3.5-year-old daughter. No link, sorry, only a link, no consent form, no prior knowledge, just this is what we are going to be speaking with your daughter about and teaching your daughter. In that email, it contained a link to raisingchildren.net.au. That's a site that's supported by the Australian Department of Social Services. Exactly, wait until you read this. This was the advice given home to about a 3.5-year-old young girl. Your child may be very curious about bodies, their own and other people's. For example, you might find them looking at their own and other children's genitals. A combination of natural curiosity and role-playing is usually a typical part of childhood sexual behaviour. The government condones this. If you don't believe me, go to the website yourself. Child sexual behaviour should not be in the same sentence, especially to a 3-year-old. It's child grooming times 1,000. Now, it gets worse. If you go onto the site, have a look at the preschoolers and toddlers section and click on development. It's got sexual development for 0 to 3-year-olds. This is what they state under 4 to 6. Don't believe me, look at the website yourself. That one of the things that they think they can indoctrinate parents to believe and teach at these daycare centres and schools, looking and touching the genitals of familiar children or adults in a curious way in the bath or toilet.
Get out! What is that?
That's what this website states. Is that grooming much?
Yes.
This is what your government condones. State and federal. This site is supported by the Department of Social Services.
Stay away from our kids!
Oh, it gets worse. They state playing games that involve being naked at 4 to 6. Exploring bodies which might include masturbating. 4 to 6.
Not this fucking job! All your kids out of school and kinder! All out!
What do you think about that? Is that child grooming?
Yes.
Have they told you as parents any of this? No! raisingchildren.net.au. If you go onto the Leave Our Kids Alone site, Leave Our Kids Alone, kids with a Z, leaveourkidsalone.org, you'll find this information in the resources and links section. Have a look for yourself. Part of the action we need going forward is to have those conversations with their friends that they don't want to have. They cannot ignore this anymore. And one last one before I wrap it up. Sorry guys, bear with me. Okay, what you can do. This is where their laws, it's good when they work against them. Everybody knows what the ICCPR is, the International Covenant of Political Rights. Thank you, sir. That has been scheduled and codified into the Australian Human Rights Commission Act 1986. That is a federal act. So that means any breach of the ICCPR is in breach of federal legislation. Thank you, sir. Article 18, Section 4 of the ICCPR states the following. The states parties to the present covenant undertake to have respect for the liberty of parents and, when applicable, legal guardians, here's the bit, to ensure the religious and moral education of their children in conformity with their own convictions. Is that black and white? Yeah. So, when the schools tell you, no, we must confuse your 3-year-old or 5-year-old child or your child that they can be 752 different genders, indoctrinate them with this absolute sexual depravity for that age. When they tell you it's mandated, that's a lie, or it's compulsory, that's a lie. They have tried to indoctrinate you for far too long now as parents that they have more say than you over your child. That's not the case. You are the parent, you are the primary educator, you say what your child gets taught and what doesn't get taught. Now there's a letter, that is a letter that you can download from the website, leaveourkidsalone.org, kids with a Z. You can download, sign it, and give it to your principal. Also, it states on there that they are liable as well. So that means for what they teach. That means if your child suffers any mental health issues down the track for the content they were taught, you can sue them personally. Start letting them know that. That's how you push back. That's one of the ways you push back. Sorry guys, I was passed a note before I wrap it up. I passed a note by Jackie to have a look at the website about any all constitutional matters, constitutionwatch.com.au. So constitutionwatch.com.au, have a look at that site. Now, to wrap it up, we do, by the looks of it guys, we are going to wrap it up soon. I will play some music, so feel free to hang around. I would suggest you don't try to go home that way for the obvious reasons. Pardon? I'll have a word to the sergeant. No, we're right that way? So we're right, yep, okay. So we are okay to, if you travel home, down Burke Street or down Spring Street that way. Okay, that's the two ways we can leave. Now, as I said earlier, this is just one of the many steps, and we have to get out of our comfort zones. Now, I know you guys are, and like I said before, I know you're tired. I know this has been a long journey. However, It's time to get re-excited again because of all the new recruits, the new people that are starting to become aware. Those same friends that laughed at you 5 years ago are now listening to you. That's something, yes. That's because you were persistent. That's because you didn't give up. So give yourself a pat on the back and another big clap. But we got more to do. Step by step, challenge by challenge. Don't get sucked into the psyop from the fake news media that are going to keep driving the propaganda. Don't get sucked in. Don't fall in. Start showing some discernment. Stop being so emotionally reactive. I know it's emotional times, ladies and gentlemen, but more logic and less emotion. Let emotion drive you, but don't let emotion guide you. Big difference. Show that discernment, take a step back, gather more data, observe, then make a judgment and form a belief after that. We all, every single one of us, has to become people we've never been before. And here at 57 years old, shit, I'm excited by that. I'm 57, I haven't even peaked yet. And you should have the same mentality, okay? Because yeah, your hip might ache a little bit and your arthritis, but your brain's still sharp, your mind's still sharp, and your passion and your patriotism for this country will never die. Ladies and gentlemen, to wrap it up, and I will play some music after this in case you want to hang around for a little while. But once again, to reiterate, please, if you're going to take off, down Burke Street or that way, please, okay? Just for your own benefits. But just to finish up, every single one of you, I love you all. Every single person up here that spoke loves you. We sacrifice our life for you. We take the hits for you. We take all the ridicule for you. And we're going to keep bloody doing it too. So the fake news media, the treasonous government, you keep stacking them up, we keep knocking them down. It's going to be tough, it's going to be bumpy, but it's going to be worth it. And I'll just leave you with this. You know what you got to do. Do it. Do it.